तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। So when I heard Vedanta Prabhu saying towards the end, interesting thing, it is something that practically happened in one of the conversations of His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was telling one disciple that initially a preacher wants to deliver the whole world, and then seeing that the living entities are not cooperating, then he thinks, let me develop my country at least. Then he thinks, let me at least deliver people who speak my language, my own state. And then finally one thinks, at least let me deliver my relatives and friends, blood relatives. Finally, not seeing much change in others, one thinks, first let me deliver myself. And then he said, if you focus on yourself and try to lead a pure life and delivering yourself, then you will have a big impact on the whole world. So very amazingly, Vedanta Chaitanya Prabhu spoke what was actually told by Srila Bhakti Thakur. Sometimes in our parampara line, even if you have not come across that, still imperceptibly you say the same thing because you are aligned with the parampara, It's very amazing. For me, Prabhupada's books are very special, but Prabhupada's life itself is like a book. Because just as you flip through the pages of the book and you learn something interesting, nice, similarly if you look at his life and his speeches and his dealings and his encounters and his challenges that he accepted in life and his ecstasies, simply by going through this, you can learn so many lessons. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, not only should we glorify Krishna, we should equally glorify his pure devotees also. Pure devotees deserve to be glorified like that. Shrutasya pumsam suchira shramasya nanmanjasa suribiriditortha tattad gunanu shravanam mukunda padaravindam hridayeshu yesham. This verse says, the Nityasuris are the eternal associates of the Lord, like Acharyas, like Srila Prabhupada. They also carry very sublime qualities due to their association with the Supreme Lord very intimately. So, if we can observe those qualities and admire them in our heart, adore them, worship them, then we will develop such a deep respect for them that we will be able to take their instructions on our head and follow it all our life. And that is the purpose of days like today, Vyas Puja Day, when we hear from various devotees about the glories of the Acharya. So our affection and respect for the Acharya can be increased, and that can actually become a guiding light for us in our entire life. So I can think of some of the encounters and exchanges Prabhupada had during his visit to South India. Once when Prabhupada came here, almost he must have stayed 3 or 4 days. At that time there was a very heavy drought, famine everywhere. You might have heard some farmers even committed suicide in those days, not getting even a drop of water. So when Prabhupada did lecturing and kirtan very vibrantly, and then there was a heavy rains. It came in the papers that the Swamiji has brought rains to Andhra Pradesh. And the matter was taken to Prabhupada and shown Prabhupada said, yes, it is true. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo. When you do yajna, then the rains come. So, you will be surprised to know, recently in our ICC forum, ICC forum is a forum of temple presidents all across India. They had given one Indian map and shown how much percentage of a particular region are vegetarians. So the first rank went in India to Rajasthan, which is 72% vegetarians. And then the second rank went to Madhya Pradesh, 52%. Third rank went to Uttar Pradesh, 47%. Then fourth rank went to Gujarat. There also it was somewhat like a 38% or something. So they had put percentages everywhere. So here in Andhra Pradesh, the vegetarians are only 1.2%, which means it's 98.7% non-vegetarians. Please don't think I'm humiliating Andhra Pradesh. I am from Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu also got only 2%. 2% vegetarians, 98% non-vegetarians. Why will there not be famine? Think about it in a place like that. So, because there is so much of violence to the poor, innocent creatures, so we have such a big responsibility on our heads. Unless we vigorously preach and bring about the awareness, people are not going to change. Like, in one of the recent gatherings in Mayapur, there were like 500 students. I asked them, how many of you were non-vegetarians before? More than 350, 380 people raised their hands. And how many of you have given up non-veg now? Again, they all raised their hands. Okay, how many of you promised me that till your last breath you will not touch non-vegetarian? Again, all of them raised their hands. Now they have developed a conviction after reading Prabhupada books and attending programs and everything that we should not unnecessarily kill our younger brothers or innocent animals. We just have to preach to people, because if we don't preach, people don't even know. Many of the boys told me, Prabhu, we never knew it's wrong. We were just eating meat, we were not aware. So you will see Srila Prabhupada, he was very honest, straightforward, and he would speak the truth without compromise. For example, when once he came for a 3-day festival here in Hyderabad, at that time, as soon as he was boarding the car and coming, as soon as he arrived, immediately the staff reporters surrounded him. They said, Swamiji, you are going to do a big Pandal program. We have some questions for you. Prabhupada asked, what's the question? Generally, they may ask how many people are going to attend, what is the topic or something. But these fellows asked him a question. Swamiji, is your movement Dvaita or Advaita? They asked. And Prabhupada told the devotees, these fellows are amazing. They are staff reporters, and even a staff reporter knows philosophy. Here in South India, South Indian people are very fond of philosophical analysis. So Prabhupada replied him in a very intelligent way. He told him, see, Dvaita or Advaita, all of us need grains to eat. And how do you get the grains? Annat bhavanti bhutani. Parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Prabhupada said, if you want grains, all living beings subsist on grains. Whether you are a Dvaita or Advaita, both need to eat grains. But where do the grains come from? They come from the rains. And where does the rain come from? Yajnat bhavati parjanyo. Yajna karma samudbhava. He said, therefore you should do yajna. And we are doing that yajna which is called Sankirtan yajna. That's why I have come, Prabhupada said. And that fellow forgot the question of Dvaita Advaita. So, in this way you will see Prabhupada was very focused in giving people Bhakti Yoga. Sometimes we have experience, we go to preach in a program. Some audience tangentially takes us in some other direction, and we ended up in a heated argument, and then the main thing what he wanted to give is lost. Whereas you will see Srila Prabhupada was focused on giving the holy name, giving Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, making people distribute books and do things like that. And Prabhupada was very keen when he came to Hyderabad. He said, I am very keen to visit Tirupati because that is a very big headquarters for spirituality and religion in South India. Millions of people visit Tirupati. We should definitely go. So once in his visit, there was a trip made for Prabhupada to Tirupati. And Prabhupada was very, very pleased with the Tirupati Devasthana people. Because in certain temples, they don't allow the Westerners to go in. Whereas when Prabhupada went with his Western disciples, they not only they allowed Prabhupada and his disciples to stay in a very nice cottage. 2 cottages, big cottages, they allotted in the side of the mountains. Also, they took Prabhupada's darshan very close to the deities, and Prabhupada and his disciples could take as long as they wanted to take darshan. So Prabhupada very much appreciated that. He said, just see their culture, learn from these fellows, how cultured they are, how they are treating us. We are from another sampradaya, they are coming, when we are coming, how warmly they treated us. He was telling his disciples, learn from them. And then he saw that all the visitors to Tirupati, they were shaving their heads and they were all chanting, Govinda, Govinda, Kedu Kondalavada, Govinda. So they were saying Govinda, Govinda, and Prabhupada said, Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. And then Prabhupada said, see, they chant Govinda very nicely, we are very happy about that. But most of these people have some material benefits to ask Balaji. They're coming. But we should teach them, Govinda is not enough. Govinda Mahadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I surrender my life to Govinda and I don't ask him for anything because he's already giving everything. Don't demand anything from Govinda. Govinda is your father, mother, everything for you. He will take care of you. You surrender first. Instead of surrendering, you are demanding. Prabhupada said, Tamaham Bhajami. So, anything that Prabhupada would observe, his comments would be very immensely helpful for the devotees to see the differences. What should be done and what should not be done. And then when one of the pujaris was telling Prabhupada that, Swamiji, we get about 40 lakhs here. Every year we get about 40 lakhs in those days. So it was a big amount. So Prabhupada asked, what do you do with that money? They said, we are mostly using it for renovation purposes, beautifying our area and also renovation. Prabhupada said, that is all right, but you should use it in preaching. It's very important. And Prabhupada said, who is Balaji? Bala is Krishna. See, Krishna himself is preaching Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And the same Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He came to South India and he was also preaching in South India. Therefore, the money that you gather should not be simply meant for infrastructure development alone, but it should be utilized for preaching and awakening the sleeping souls. That's a very important thing, he said. And then another priest was telling Prabhupada that, Swamiji, we are planning for developing on Panchopasana temple. Panchopasana means Shaurya, Shakta, Shaiva, Ganapatya and Vaishnava we say. So this Panchopasana, the impersonalists do this Panchopasana. When Prabhupada heard that, he said, see, you people are coming in the line of Ramanuja. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki. So Sripad Ramanujacharya never encouraged Panchopasana. That is the impersonalistic method. Because those who do Panchopasana, they worship Ganesh and they put Ganesh in water. They worship Durga Devi for 10 days during Vijayadashami. After that they do Visarjan. But Vaishnavas will never do Visarjan of Krishna or Vishnu or Rama. They will worship whole life and beyond death also they will continue to worship in the spiritual world. So in this way, you can see Prabhupada was sensitive and very caring and kind on one hand. On the other hand, he was honest and straightforward in speaking the truth to the Vaishnavas because he wanted the Vaishnavas to know the truth and not be misled, because if they are misled, then they will mislead so many people below. Therefore, the truth has to be spoken. And also his disciples were learning parallelly what all instructions that Prabhupada is giving. And then when Prabhupada took darshan, came out, he showed the devotees, just see the golden dome, how it looks. Just see the cottages they have made for the accommodation of bhaktas. And look at the Devasthana management. how superb management they are doing in such a vast area. He told the devotees, tomorrow ISKCON should develop temples like this, he said, where everything is nicely managed, nice accommodation, nice prasad, nice darshan visit. So there should be many, many temples welcoming the people. So in this way, Prabhupada was in learning mode and teaching mode, both. He was learning something interesting, something innovative, something new. At the same time, he also would take every opportunity to teach his disciples and followers what should be done. So when he came here to Hyderabad, in the 3-day program, after it got over, he was inviting all his initiated disciples. They were sitting in a small room and they were planning to talk about the festival, what happened and how things went. So there was one small boy, teenage boy. He was attending the program. He was around in those 3 days. So he would stay overnight. So next day morning when he came, he sat right in the front near Prabhupada. And Prabhupada showed him the door. He said, you can go there, he said. Then after the boy went, he called the sannyasi and told her, see, young boys like this should be engaged in washing the pots, he said. Because if somebody is ready to wash the pots regularly without even asking a cross question, he is the person who is going to stay for life. He is going to become a serious devotee. Otherwise, people will just hang around and they can become a parasite, burden. So here is a very good learning for the young boys and brahmacharis. If a brahmachari or a young boy is lazy for physical service, so according to Prabhupada, they will only become a burden in this society. They should always be enthusiastic to go out on book distribution, go out on preaching, wash the pots, worship the deities, be willing to come and attend the whole morning program. So Prabhupada was very, very intelligent in that respect. He said, although our ISKCON society opens doors for everybody to practice bhakti, he said, don't take lazy bums. This is not a free hotel, Prabhupada says. You don't want people to just eat and sleep without doing something valuable. And then he went to the farm. In the farm, there was a program for the farmers. Prabhupada was very happy, getting lots of farmers and sharing Krishna consciousness with them. And when they were eating prasad, then Prabhupada took one devotee to the kitchen and asked, who cooked the prasad today? Prabhupada didn't know. So the devotee said, we had employed a cook to cook the prasad. So he asked, who is that fellow employed? Show me who it is. Devotee was wondering why Prabhupada is so keen about it. Then they found that fellow was not a cook, he was actually a sweeper. And then, but devotee said, Prabhupada, he was wearing this sacred thread. He said, Prabhupada said, I know it, you get the person. When they got the fellow and interviewed, they found out he was a sweeper, but only for the sake of cooking, he wore a sacred thread and came, claiming to be a Brahman. And Prabhupada said, just see. He was lamenting. He said, alas, you people have fed the farmers with food which is actually cooked by somebody who is not a devotee, and what will be their consciousness? You have ruined everything. And devotee said, Prabhupada, we didn't get anybody. We didn't know what to do. Prabhupada said, I am there. You could have told me. I would have cooked. He said. Devotees thought, how can Prabhupada cook? So many of us take this matter very lightly. We think that, we can sometimes, if we get some food outside, we can just chant Hare Krishna and take it. Or we just pray to Krishna, please tolerate me today. I have no other food, I can accept it. Or I can go to a Jain hotel and then just eat rice and dahi or something like that. Whenever any of our students want Kantimala, I will always ask them, do you know to cook? If they say, I don't know cooking, I will say, I cannot give you. Why? Because tomorrow you may have to travel outdoor 1 week or 3 days, 4 days. Everybody should know cooking. You should personally cook with your own hand, offer it to Krishna and then take it. Otherwise you should have a devotee with you who can cook. We cannot eat outside. So those people, devotees who are eating outside, their consciousness will become materially contaminated. Vishayir anna kaila malina haya man. Like the Chaitanya Charitamrita says. Your mind will become malin, impure, putrefied if you are eating outside. So Prabhupada was very angry and heavy at that time. So he corrected the devotees. So we can see in every step, Prabhupada has something valuable to teach us. Here he is teaching about consciousness that goes into the food. And he was teaching that young boy the need for hard work. This is not a movement where people can just come to relax and sleep. It's not a sleeping moment. It is a movement, which means everybody should be moving. It's not a stagnant ment. It's a moving ment. So Prabhupada wanted us to work hard and expand the movement. And I told you, for your information, that just 1.25% of Andhra and Telangana is vegetarian. Such a tiny number. So let ISKCON's preaching in Hyderabad bring about a great difference, because Hyderabad is actually 1 crore people, isn't it? It's 1 crore people in Hyderabad, and Hyderabad is cities like Hyderabad and Vijayawada, they are very prominent in Telangana and Andhra, correct, no? So if Hyderabad people follow something, it is going to influence many other taluks and areas around. Many educated people are living here. So we all are taking in knowledge from Prabhupada books. We are reading, relishing, practicing, celebrating festivals, which is very wonderful. At the same time, Prabhupada would want us to engage in Sankirtan and preach. One last thing I would say and conclude my talk. One is known as Mahamsa Maharaj. This Maharaj, in those days, he got one bullock cart and arranged for some devotees to be put in bullock cart and arranged for books to be distributed and place to place, travel around, and the bullock cart would go up to Mayapur, from Hyderabad to Mayapur. That was the plan. So he was arranging for the book distribution and preaching through that. And when Prabhupada had come here, he gave him a report about how Prabhupada, so many devotees are going and so many books have gone. He gave the book distribution report, prasadam distribution report. And he gave it to Prabhupada. And also he told Prabhupada that these devotees are so renounced, Prabhupada, that every day they sleep under different trees. When they go from one village to another, they didn't even know where are they going to stay. They are completely sold out to your movement. And the most important thing, Prabhupada, is they are very blissfully situated. They have no worries or cares, anxieties. And Prabhupada's face got lit up and bright. Prabhupada said, this is what is most wanted, he said. Our book should be reaching to people. Philosophy should be reaching to people. Holy name should reach people. Prasadam should reach people. And Prabhupada said, I want to invest 1 crore rupees in Hyderabad, Prabhupada said. In those days, 1 crore means you can imagine. Sitaram, how much will it be now? 100 crores now. He said, this is a gold mine, because the people here are thronging in very big number. And we should take special care of this place and expand this type of preaching more and more. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srila Prabhupada Vyas Puja Maha Mahotsav ki.